So, I mean, the full story of Neuralink is quite complicated. The overarching goal of Neuralink is to mitigate the AI control risk, so that as AI gets smarter and smarter, we need to do something about to enhance the bandwidth between ourselves and the machine extension of ourselves. Like, we are already a cyborg to some degree, in that our phones and our laptops and our computer applications are an extension of ourselves. But the bandwidth to the computers, especially to the phone, is very slow, where we essentially are outputting with thumbs, two slow-moving thumbs. This is a very low bandwidth situation. So I think from an existential threat standpoint, Neuralink is aimed at improving human-machine symbiosis, with the idea of ensuring that humanity can have a good coexistence with artificial intelligence. Now, in the short term, over the next several years, Neuralink will attempt to solve a number of brain injuries and brain diseases. So our first application, for example, is to enable someone who is a quadriplegic or tetraplegic to be able to control their computer or their phone just by thinking. And we've already demonstrated this actually with a monkey that can play video games and use a mouse cursor and click on things on a computer. And so we're very confident this will work, and hopefully we'll have our first human trials in the next 6 months or so. Well, I think the things that animals want to communicate with, as far as we can tell, tend to be fairly straightforward. Probably monkeys are the most sophisticated, but I think you could communicate with your dog, I suppose. Although I think I know what my dog would want. It only wants like about 4 different things. It's like food, water, go outside, and be petted. But maybe there's more to it than that. Maybe he has a secret life of dogs that we just don't know that exists. Yeah, I also I believe one should be optimistic about the future. I'm generally of the view, philosophically, that it's better to be optimistic and wrong occasionally than pessimistic and right. I think you want to look on the bright side of things, and I'm a little worried that young people today maybe sometimes are a little pessimistic about the future. But I'd like to just assure people that so long as we are not complacent, we will solve the climate crisis, and we will solve these issues. We also need to take them seriously and work hard to solve them. They will be solved, and that people should be optimistic about the future and work to make that optimistic future real. They say that the best way to predict the future is to create it. And so if you take the actions necessary for there to be a good future, then we will have a good future. And so I'd encourage people to be optimistic, take the actions that will create a good future, and we will have one. I suppose it was Plato or someone who said, or maybe attributed to Socrates, if I know anything, it's that I know nothing. So essentially, just taking that attitude that really we wish to be less foolish over time. But I think it's actually, if you accept the premise that you're a fool, then which we are all a fool to some degree, then I think that, and you wish to be less foolish, I think that's a good approach. And this maximizes your feedback loop and your ability to learn. As soon as you start thinking you know too much, and people can't teach you things, that's when you start getting very dumb. I always try to learn new things and being able to talk to interesting people. And you can often learn more by the questions that are asked, the answers that are given.
A question for Elon Musk. Suppose to be 20 years old right now, where would you start your path from?
If I was if I was just a 20-year-old right now in 2021, well, assuming that I'm still a technologist, then I think there's a lot of opportunity in synthetic RNA. The vaccines that were developed apart from the ones that were done by BioNTech and Moderna are really the beginning of what I call digital medicine, or medicine and software. And I think I would say, what's the single biggest opportunity I see right now? It's probably synthetic RNA and the potential for revolutionizing medicine in that way. There's also artificial intelligence. There's one of my favorites which is tunnels. We need a lot of tunnels to address the traffic in major cities. And then there's obviously the continued electrification of transport with aircraft and boats, in addition to cars. There's many other things that will come up as well. So I think we live at a very exciting time. If you look at the whole history of the world and humanity, this is a time of the greatest technological growth in history, and it seems to be accelerating. The thing about that's one of the things that makes cars especially difficult for manufacturing is that there are on the order of 10,000 unique parts or processes in vehicle production, and if even one of those has a problem, you cannot make the car. So the production moves as fast as the slowest, least lucky, least competent of, let's say, at least 10,000 unique parts and processes, some of which are within your control and some of which are at suppliers. So it's just very hard. I was sleeping in the factory for quite a while there. The long term, we'll get most of our energy from solar and wind, in addition to geothermal and hydropower. And I would say also people should really think positively of nuclear energy. I'm talking about just traditional nuclear energy that's well engineered. And I think these days recently I've been surprised by a movement away from nuclear energy. But I think actually the reality is it is actually quite safe, and we should have more nuclear energy, or at least not shut down the nuclear power plants that we already have. My considered opinion is that they do not present a danger. But there's a strong movement to get rid of nuclear power plants, which I think is not good, especially if they are to be replaced with coal power plants. I think the evidence is very clear that there's much more of a health risk from coal power plants than there is from nuclear. Yeah, I think very much so. Solar energy is often underestimated, but the Earth would be just a cold, dark ice ball at 3 degrees above absolute zero if it was not for the sun. And the sun also powers almost the entire ecosystem. From the sun powers the plants and the plankton, and then from there the whole ecosystem above plants and plankton. So you can think of really Earth as being already almost entirely solar powered, and but then there's like a little bit of extra power that's needed to power human civilization, which is small compared to the total solar incidence on Earth. The solar energy on Earth is approximately a gigawatt per square kilometer, and if you wanted to say power all of Europe with solar, you would only need a fairly small piece of land, but in reality, it would be distributed over many pieces of land.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information, and it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
What to do in such a situation? Inform yourself and keep your financial education strong. We from the Compact Group offer our loyal subscribers a free educational portal with first-hand monetary, financial, and economic knowledge. Enter our invite-only Insider Club by clicking the link below. You will get access to first-class information far earlier than the rest. We have prepared a special deal for all our members where you can access a giant pool of Robert Kiyosaki's financial wisdom for just $1. To find out more, simply click the link below and join our Insider Club absolutely free. But there is more you can and should do. Build up several streams of income. More and more people realize that they have to take their future in their own hands, but they don't know how and where to start. We from Compact offer our Insider Club members unique opportunities. Strengthen your financial muscle and get the edge. Click the link below. Become part of our free Insider Club. No financial obligations. But there's one important thing you have to know. You have to become active. So do it now. Become active and see you on the other side.